been building Vipers for 20 years now, and in our view, Viper is really the quintessential American supercar.
The original Viper was kind of viewed as an image car, and also, you know, Chrysler was just coming back from another tough time.
It's one of those things where the car, in order to understand what it's about, it has to touch you emotionally. So we wanted to create an emotional statement.
The car has such a classic form and appearance. So how do you make the next one better without, first of all, alienating your existing customers? Because our current customer base are just wild, crazy, devoted fans.
One big criticism of the past Vipers was, although it was a great sports car, it was also pretty basic inside. And certainly, it was a fast car, but because it was basic, we've had a lot of buyers tell us, you know, when I look at a lot of competitive, especially European sports cars, I see a lot of really rich interiors. And so one of the big goals that Ralph Gilles pushed us hard to deliver for the new car was a no excuses, world-class interior. We've upgraded to the Sabelt composite sport shell seat. That's the optional sport seat in Ferrari models, and it's standard in Viper today. The instruments are all full electronic and fully reconfigurable, so it's a modern electronic instrument cluster. The old car had, admittedly, a pretty poor stereo system by modern standards, but the new car has up to an optional 19-speaker system. It's just unbelievable.
Some of the other things we worked on was weight. We thought that was really, really important. The majority of the car is carbon fiber. The roof, the whole hood module, and the deck lid. The doors are superformed aluminum, so we take a sheet of aluminum, heat it, and that's what allows us to get those sharp creases and the big draws on it.
We went from this cast aluminum 2-piece intake manifold to a 3-piece molded composite manifold. It's nylon 6 material, and that was about a 7-pound reduction. We went away from a steel flywheel to an aluminum flywheel, and that was about 11 pounds. So we went from about 32 pounds to 21 pounds. Other little things, the exhaust valve, we went from a solid valve to a hollow valve with sodium filled, and that was about a pound out of the engine, about 1/10 of a pound out of each valve. And then the pistons, we went from a cast piston to a forged piston that was about 36 grams lighter. All these things added up to about 25 pounds when you add it all up.
Taking all the weight out of it, I've always been kind of a lightweight guy versus huge horsepower. This has got both. We increased the torsional stiffness of the car by 50%. When you drive the car, you'll feel it. The turn-in is just so much more precise, and the car becomes a natural extension of the driver. It's really, I'm really excited about that stuff.
Well, yeah, there is a perception out there that's an age-old perception from the early Viper that it is a straight-line car. It's got those big back tires and a narrow front track. And whether that's really true or not is up for debate. But one thing we did to put more handling into this new car was widening the front track 16 millimeters at each wheel. So taking the front track out and making the outside edges of the front even with the rears gave the front more authority and took understeer out of the car, core understeer out of the car. One of the other key things was the steering tuning that we redid, and it's the same ratio rack. It's completely retuned. It's a TRW unit, but we have a stiffer T-bar, a stiffer torsion bar in the spool valve, revised steering tuning, and we have a lot more on-center precision. And the steering rack feels faster, but it's really in the hydraulics. It's not in the mechanical rack and pinion gear.
Well, so SRT, we're big believers that everything, form follows function. These cars are high-speed machines. All SRTs are drag limited, not electronically limited. So the stability is very important, cooling is important, and we all know performance and heat, unfortunately, they come together, so you have to manage that. We relish in the form follows function. So in this particular Viper, it all starts with the cooling opening. It's actually a very well sculpted opening. We actually had to remove the grill. There's no grill texture because we needed even that little bit more cooling was very critical without having to put a gaping hole, gaping front end. The brake ducting is one of the ducts. It's actually integrated beautifully into the front grille of the vehicle. 100% functional. All that air goes right to the center of the wheel brake package. And then one of the new additions, and this is an aesthetic detail but also functional, we wanted to kind of redraw the graphic of the window, give the car a different signature from the side view. And while we were at it, our engineer said, hey, could we put a rear brake cooling duct? It's always difficult to duct the rear brake, so this is actually a functional duct with a 3-inch air tube that goes all the way to the wheel cavity. These are actually things that we learned in our World Challenge racing program.
You know, Chrysler's been away from racing for quite a while as far as ALMS racing, and so this is our first foray back into that series in about 10 years. We're actually racing the car before the production car has been released. This year's our development year. Next year we're going to do a full season of ALMS racing, so we have to kind of work up to being fully competitive.
We're really trying to get the image of the SRT brand up to world-class levels. So we engaged the same designers, his name is Alan Macy and Scott Kruger, to work on the uniforms of the drivers, on even the polos that we all wear, the truck graphics, and they had a blast. I mean, never have the designers ever been given that task before, and they loved it. So if you look at the ALMS pit, you'll see it has a suspiciously cool designer touch to it.
The Viper means a lot to SRT and to Chrysler in total. And you know, our goal was to create a new Viper that would stand tall as America's supercar. You know, and that's because it means so much to us. You know, it was important for SRT to use the Viper to really demonstrate what we're capable of.
You would not believe the passion that goes into these cars. Most of us are racers, either drag racers or road racers, go-karts. The countless hours, I mean hours and hours and hours that goes into these things is amazing.
SRT is a small team. And it is frustrating every day because you're working 12, 14-hour days, and we're human, we go home dragging at night every day, but the reward is worth the price you pay to do that, because you know, days like today when we come out to Gingerman Raceway and show off the new car make it all worth it. You know, I think that there's an equally passionate, you know, group of people that love supercars and just love the Viper, and we hope they'll really love the new 2013 SRT Viper too.